Last Thursday, August the 6th, was the Feast of the Transfiguration, where Christ is transfigured before three of his apostles. And next to Christ, we have the transfigured form of Moses and Elijah. And we wonder why Moses and Elijah are there. And the typical answer was Moses represents the law and Elijah the prophets. But another idea came to me why they're there. Because each one in their lives foreshadows in a special way the Eucharist. We see that today's gospel is about the Eucharist, the bread of life, and so was last week. And last week, the Eucharist is kind of presented in the context of Moses and the manna that came down from heaven to feed the Israelites on their journey. And in today's gospel, we have also food coming down from heaven to help Elijah in his journey. Now, Elijah has just been very triumphal in facing 150 false prophets. And there's a contest between the false practice of religion and the true practice of religion. The false practice, 450 of them, offer a sacrifice to God, and they ask God to come down to consume the sacrifice. But he does not. No matter how much they plead, the sacrifice remains there. Then Elijah calls God to come down to take his sacrifice, and fire comes down to consume the sacrifice, indicating that Elijah is the true prophet. Now after that, the patroness of the false prophets, Jezebel, is so angry about Elijah having this triumph, she sends out her army to kill him. So he flees. He flees into the desert. And even though he has been very triumphal, he's tired now in the desert. He's hungry. He's thirsty. He can go no longer any farther. He says, enough. I'm going to die here. But an angel comes to him and tells him to get up and move on. And he does, but he's too tired to move on. And finally an angel brings him cake and a jug of water to give him the nourishment to move on. Now, we are like Elijah at times in our lives. No matter what good experiences we have had, there comes times when we're tired, we're worn out. We no longer want to continue the journey. But Christ is there to give us food to carry on the journey. And he says in the gospel, I am the bread of life that comes down from heaven. And if we take this bread of life, as Elijah took the cake and the jug of water, we will have new energy. Energy to carry on in our life. Now, when we eat bread ordinarily, the bread is assimilated into our body and becomes part of us and gives us energy. But in the Eucharist, it's different. We are to be assimilated into the bread and the wine, into the body and blood of Christ. And we are to become part of him that gives us even greater energy. But to do that, we need not only to go to Mass and receive that bread, but we need to contemplate about it. How does this bread really become part of us? Or how do we really become part of the bread? In the second reading, it talks about how at times we have anger, we have resentment, we shout at one another. But we are called to move away from that and to be kind to one another, compassionate and forgiving. There are two different attitudes that we can have, negative one or the positive one. It's the bread of life, the Eucharist, that can move us from negative thinking about everything to positive thinking about everything. To move from anger to compassion. To move from quarreling to forgiving one another. And certainly the bread does that. So when we are depressed and tired and figure that we have enough, remember we can call upon the bread of Christ to give us new energy to carry on.